Hey everyone, and once again, thank you so much for joining me. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Terrance Johnson. Thank you for tuning in to Evolution Now. As always, I just thank you for all your support, all the great comments, the follows. We're killing it. I'm just super excited about our progress and the millions of views and tens and thousands of followers. I cannot thank you enough. I know I did a last reel thanking you guys, but I just had to come back and thank you again. It's greatly appreciated. As we get started today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about Agenda 21 DTF. Agenda 21 DTF. What is that? The destruction of the family. The destruction of the family. And unfortunately, many people have not been vaccinated, and so they've been infected with divorce. They've been infected with broken homes. And hopefully this message in some way, shape, form, or fashion will encourage you to vaccinate your mind and your heart and bring some type of solidarity in your family, if you will. There's an agenda, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter what color you are, black, white, young, old, it doesn't matter. There is an agenda to destroy the family. And it's working. It's working. It's spreading at the same rate that COVID-19 did. It is spreading to where millions of men and women across the world, particularly here in the States, have been infected with this virus of destroying their family. Now, Mr. Johnson, what are you trying to explain to us? If you don't understand that there's an agenda, if you do not understand, it's not only an agenda to destroy the family, there's an agenda to destroy the moral fabric of the country, if you will. There's an agenda to destroy men. There's an agenda to destroy a woman being a woman, if you will. And this is not necessarily political commentary. I don't want you to perceive it as that. I want you to take a deeper look, peel the onion back, if you will, one layer at a time, and really study what's happening in our country, what's really going on. When we see that divorce is in roughly 50%, when we see that we still have a great deal of crime, particularly among my own people, or young men are being gunned down in the streets, can you really fathom that in your mind? Some people think that the law enforcement is the worst enemy of African Americans. The worst enemy of African Americans is African Americans. Number one, let me put this out there, and I want you to listen very carefully. Stop killing each other. Stop killing each other. You could do nothing if there's no one to change anything, and at the rate things are going, our young men will be incarcerated at a higher rate. Our young women will continue to be out there to fend for themselves. Now, whether people agree with the feminist movement or not, that's not my opinion. I don't care one way or the other, because I'm going to roll which way I choose to roll. But I can tell you, if you really believe that you do not need each other, you, my friend, are mistaken. And it's very easy to prey upon a people that is not united. And so if you are a woman out here on your own, making your money, I applaud you. Fine, great job. But at the end of the day, men and women need each other. Children need their fathers. It's just that simple. We have seen the outcome and the destruction of poor decision making. We've seen the outcomes of it. We see it every day in our society. So what are we going to do about it? Ultimately, you have a choice. You do have a choice. You do have a choice. You could choose to either to go against what you see the narrative is, or you can participate in it. I can assure you, if you choose to participate in this narrative, you will reap the ill effects of that decision. It's just that simple. It is not something to make you feel good or even to question what it is that you're doing, but ask yourself one simple question. Why are things the way that they are? Why is it like this? Why is it that men and women can't get along? It wasn't always this way. Some might use some feeble arguments that our grandparents and our grandmoms didn't have decisions, or, whatever. Our fathers might have had multiple families. There's nothing new under the sun. There's always been wrongdoing. The choice is, do you participate in it? Are you the individuals that's going to choose to participate in what's wrong or what's right? Now, I can assure you, if you take the righteous path, it is usually an unpopular path. I'm going to say this to you again. If you choose to do what is right, unfortunately, because of the society that we live in and the world that governs us, the prince of powers, if you will, the princess of darkness, yes, these things are real. If you don't know that, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, evil is a real thing. And evil is very, very strong, particularly amongst weak people. And so, unfortunately, I'm going to challenge each and every one of you to not just to be strong physically, but you need to be strong mentally, emotionally, if you will, spiritually. All these things play a part of our existence. Now, with that being said, what are some common things you could do to alleviate your chances of falling into these traps? Well, the first thing you can do, I'm going to deal with the brothers first. I'm going to talk to men. The first thing you can do, and I want you to listen carefully, all right? And I don't want you to take this the wrong way. You can stop putting your dick in anything. I'm going to call it spade a spade. As long as you continue to chase women and chase sex, and that's your God, if you will, that's what you worship. If that's what it is, I can assure you, you reap what you sow. It's just the laws of nature. You must understand the principles in which govern our society and the ones that you're under, that you operate under. If you do wrong, wrong will catch you. If you do evil, evil will find you. It's just the law. The law is immutable. It cannot be broken. It's just that simple. And unfortunately, many of us don't reach that conclusion until you're much older in life. Hopefully, by entertaining what I'm saying to you in some way, shape, form, or fashion, it will enable you to make a better decision, particularly with my young men. So I'm going to say this to you again. Stop chasing women. Now, to my young, beautiful women, about any nationality, one in particular, I'm going to tell you something. And I want to say this to you because I know that a lot of times, being married 30 years myself, my wife is here in the studio with me, and I want you to think I would say anything derogatory about women, not in the presence of my wife. No, she's been with me 30 years, and she knows her husband. And I will say this to you. If you are leading with your legs open, you will definitely die with them open. It's just that simple. The most precious vessel you have as a woman is your body and your beauty. But if you continue to give it away based off a bag, some clothes, a dinner, my friend, not only have you cheapened yourself to an extent that is beyond repair, but ultimately you've degraded yourself to a degree in which the powers that be don't respect you. If you find yourself twerking and dancing on top of cars and showing your ass crack and the nibbles on your breast and, you know, the birth canal, if you will, because your pants are so tight and you really think that that's fashionable, you really think out of all the souls that try to come to this plane of existence, that your sole purpose is to act this way, you, my friend, have become lost. Now, am I saying I'm perfect? No. I myself, not want to appear hypocritical, have enjoyed many strip clubs when I was a young man, enjoyed many days of smoking weed and getting blunted and all that. I'm just keeping it real with you. There's no shame here. But by God's grace and mercy, I was able to grow older and in time gain wisdom to see that those choices, be it as it may, were not the right decisions. I am not telling you that your life is over. I'm not Kevin Samuels, if you will, but I will tell you this. If you continue down the path of destruction, it is inevitable you will be destroyed. It's just that simple. You can argue, beg to differ, and that's okay. But the fact of the matter is, you need men and men need women. That's the truth. And the agenda, DTF, Destruction of the Family 21, is so that you guys don't buy into that ideology. You do not buy into that philosophy. Hence, you have many people who are separate. There was a study that I read the other day or heard of that in the next, I think by 2030, half of all the women in this country will be single. That's a crisis. You were never meant to be alone. I'm going to say this to you again. It is not good for men to be alone. It is not good for you to be in home with your children and there's no one there to protect you. You can have a 9mm, you can have the clip fully loaded, you might have 16 rounds. But if you don't know how to shoot, if you've never taken a life, if you don't understand that, I assure you, you do not want to be in that position, nor should you have to be. The mission here at Evolution is relatively simple. It is for you to evolve beyond this mediocre way of living, this mediocre way of existing, and this destructive way of thinking. It is destroying us. Our society is crumbling at the edges. Our children, my God, if you do not think that our children are on the menu to be served up as the gruel of society, you are sadly mistaken. Our children are the target. You are the target. But remember, you do have a choice. I highly encourage you to choose wisely. You need to look for a man that's going to love you, not just have sex with you. Men, you need to look for a woman that loves you and not just pocket watching your money. You see, that's what they've done. They created an agenda and a message to get your eyes off the ball. If you really think that a man is only as valuable as his dollar, I can appreciate money. I am not poor, far from it. But I can assure you, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and to lose his soul? And let's take it a step further. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his family? What does it profit a woman to gain the whole world and to be alone? This is ridiculous. The mere fact that people would argue the point shows you the destruction. You did not come through the ethereal realm to exist on this plane to be by yourself. You need to learn to love yourself. It is very difficult for you to love anyone if you do not love yourself. This is why broken people establish broken relationships, or how people say hurt people. Be it as it may, I would take it a step further. Evil people hurt people. People can be very evil towards one another. You don't believe me? Why are there prenups? You don't believe me? Why is there family court? You don't believe me? Why is there child protection services? Why? Because evil is a real thing, and you must understand the nature of evil. It only operates through people. That's how it works. Just like goodness operates through people. Now, which side are you on? Who are you? What are you going to do? You do have a choice. But unfortunately, many of us choose unwisely. Many of us choose unwisely. If you do not take the time to improve yourself, to learn to articulate yourself in a particular fashion that where people could understand what it is that you're trying to convey in a way that is palatable and digestible without offending people, because that's the argument here. Once you offend someone, the message is lost. Once someone gets up to their feelings, and they say you're in your feelings, the message is clearly lost. You are under attack. You're not only under attack financially, you're under attack physically. If you don't believe me, turn on any TV and you'll see 100 pharmaceutical commercials telling you to take their drugs. You are under attack physically. You're under attack mentally. You're inundated with evil, darkness, murder, robbery, hatred, racism, death, destruction, war. Am I wrong, I say? I need you to listen carefully. You do have a choice. You do, I must reiterate this point, have a choice. But if you do not choose wisely, if you do not choose to save your life, to save your family, by default, it is only the rules of engagement. You must become a victim or collateral damage of this great war. Now, what do I do, Mr. Johnson? I hear what you're saying. Now, what do I do? How do I protect myself from this war? You prepare for war, ladies and gentlemen, in a time of peace. You prepare for war in a time of peace. So, with that being said, if you are a young man, don't go out here and get a girl pregnant and you don't have a job or enough money to take care of her and the baby. You have set yourself up for 18 years most likely of hell and destruction with a woman you kind of like. My sisters, don't do that. Don't have a baby with a dude you kind of like and barely know. You have set yourself up for 18 years of hell and destruction. Remember, you do have a choice. You have a choice. Unfortunately, many people will experience the bad side of life because most people do not do what is right. They do what is convenient for them to do. If you find yourself doing the right thing, living the right way, and yet you might see yourself being taken advantage of, disrespected, all these things are part of the process of your journey. There's much more going on here than meets the eye. I can assure you of this. There are hidden forces, hidden powers, if you will, that are navigating and guiding and creating a narrative of this world that will lead the world basically to hell. And unfortunately, it is winning. There will be a remnant, who will understand what is happening and hopefully partake of the light. And what I mean by the light is the light of God or of consciousness or of love. Some might say that what he is saying is a feeble, it's a misnomer, it cannot happen. Listen, that's not true. The most powerful aspect of your existence is your consciousness. Now, what is your consciousness contaminated with? If it's contaminated with greed, destruction, non-trusting, evil thinking, bitterness, unforgiveness, rudeness, meanness, selfishness, then you, my friend, are part of the unvaccinated, if you will. You, my friend, are participating in the DTR, the destruction of the family. I just wanted to share this message with you because it was placed on my heart to do so. Men, protect your family at all costs. At all costs. Protect your women at all costs. Protect your children at all costs. Remember, you do have a choice. My beautiful women, black, white, Hispanic, is of no consequence to me. Stay in your feminine power. It is needed. Without the nurturing of a woman, the callous coldness of a world that men run will breed war. It's just the truth. We are not the same. We are not the same. This whole argument that we're the same is not only nonsense, it's foolishness. Can't you see it? Open your eyes. Let he who has eyes to see, let him or her see. You're running out of time. You must take a stand. You must choose. Remember, you have a choice. I hope that you choose wisely. Be smart with your money. If you continue to waste the income that you have on frivolous things that have of no consequence, to buy things that a year from now will be sitting in your closet collecting dust, you have not mastered good stewardship. It is imperative that you become a great steward over what you have, to be grateful for what you have. Do not compare yourself to others. This is a grave mistake and the greatest robber of joy. Do not compare yourself to others. You are on your journey, if you will. I only hope and pray that you find someone willing to share your journey with you. Marriage and family, is it easy? No. It's not easy for anyone. Let me be clear with you about that. I'm sure it's not easy for my wife a lot of times to deal with me, because trust me, I could be a handful. I'm just being honest. But I'm not leaving her, and she's not going anywhere either. After 30 years of marriage, some people still get divorced after that long of a marriage, but we're very much comfortable with each other, and as we grow older together, there's truly a privilege as we age, outside of the colonoscopies and breast exams and mammograms and all that shit you got to deal with when you get older. The life itself has been one worth living. Your life matters. You need to understand your life matters. It matters. It matters, ladies and gentlemen. But the question is, does it truly matter to you? I hope that you are encouraged by these words, and more importantly, I want you to think. Unfortunately, many of us have been conditioned to react. We don't think. We react to a situation. I want you to be proactive. When you get home today, ladies and gentlemen, look at your family, look at what you have, and ask yourself, am I doing my very best for my family? Am I doing my very best for me? Ask yourself these questions, because I can assure you there will come a time you will not be able to do so. Many of my friends are dying. I looked on Facebook the other day, and individuals that I went to high school with, and I see us aging, and many of our friends have passed on, and it goes by so fast. It's really fleeting. Your life truly is nothing but a vapor, a puff of smoke, only here for a short time. But in that time that you're here, I highly encourage you to seek out that which is most important. Love, hope, faith. Even though they might seem somewhat antiquated in the statement, it does not negate the power of those things. You must understand that you are the vessel, and that life is happening for you, through you, and to you. And that the creator of it all, the captain of the ship, is your consciousness, is your awareness of it and in the world in which you exist. Read, improve yourself, improve your mind, and remember, your mind makes it real. This is Mr. Johnson. I just wanted to share that note with you. I hope you take something from it. And we're going to get into our Q&A session now.
Okay, well, we got a question about why women often act against their own self-interest.
Why is it difficult? Why do you have to convince women to do what's in their best interest? Because it's not in their nature to do so. That's why. It's not in their nature to do so. I mean, I want you to think about this. When I grew up, I had 9 aunts and 1 uncle. I was inundated with women. Inundated. My grandma, my 9 aunties. Beautiful, beautiful. I love all my aunties. I love my family. But I was a young teenager at the time, and a lot of things I was ignorant to. I didn't know. But what I've learned over the years is seeing many of them struggle, how they wind up in their 70s, and the decisions and choices that they made. I think at the time, a lot of them were making decisions based off what they felt, and not necessarily what was the best thing to do. And this is what I think a good man brings to a woman, and a woman can bring a lot of attributes to a man, i.e., my wife is a wonderful wife. She's had the wifey game on lock. I tell her that all the time. It's the wifey game, you got it on lock. Now, when it came to the financial obligations of our home, it took me showing and teaching and educating her. This is why we do this. This is why we do that. And a lot of times she might not have understood it, or she might not agree with it. But being a wonderful wife, she played that position, and then, many years later, she saw the benefits of it. So I think that we need guidance, but unfortunately, many women, in my opinion, don't make the right decisions because their emotions overcloud their judgment. And this is not a fault of theirs, because that's the way that the universe, God, if you will, has wired women to be. They're very emotional. We know that. It's not that there's anything wrong with emotions. I don't want to give the wrong impression. There's nothing wrong with being loving, nurturing, and kind and sweet. I mean, what man in the world doesn't like that? Unfortunately, because they've been placed on a battlefield of survival, where they've been, shot at, if you will. I mean, think about that. If you take a creature that was meant to be loving and nurturing and kind, and you put it in a war, this is why a lot of women don't fight in wars. They're not equipped for that shit, man. That's not neither here nor there. It's no different than giving a 3-week-old baby to a man. He's not equipped for that shit. He's not. He might love the child, but the child screamed too much, get on the child's nerve, man, take the baby, throw it against the wall. Tell me I'm lying. They're not equipped. So it's not just you have to convince women to do what's in their best interest. A lot of times you have to convince men to do what is right. So that door swings both ways. What I see in society is this blame game. Women are gold digging whores. And unfortunately, because you can go to YouTube and watch these gold digging videos and they promote that narrative, most people are going to believe that that's true. All women ain't out here trying to take a motherfucker's money. Man, that's some bullshit. Just like all men out here aren't dogs. All men don't cheat. That's some bullshit. But if you keep screaming that over and over and over and over, you become inundated with that. And so the women don't trust the men don't trust the women, i.e. Agenda 21, DTF, the destruction of the family, is in full effect. So you have to convince people first to do what is right. And a lot of this, many people say, she might have daddy issues. Well, let me be clear. Men have father issues. Men and women have father issues. It's not that one is greater than the other. It's just that when you remove that, see, that's part of the agenda. It's chess, not checkers. You see, the queen might be a valuable piece in the game that can move only in any one direction. But the king has to move one step at a time. And once that king falls, it's over. It's over. So what have we done? We removed men. And this is, you don't have to downplay men to elevate women. And you don't have to, downplay women to elevate men. You see, when the king and the queen operate in tandem with each other, in unison with each other, they stand a very high probability and a high possibility that they'll win the game. But see, they don't want you to win. They want you to fail. Well, why do we want you to fail? Because if you win, then you can take things over. You see, they don't want you educated, well, and healthy. They want you sick, distracted, and evil. To take it a step further, I want you to think about this. We're all going to die. Now, there are many different religious texts, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, and any other ism you can speak of. There are many things out there, but ultimately, none of us really know where we're going to go. We just know what we believe. Think about that. It's just a temporary assignment. So with that being said, just look at the condition of the world and ask yourself, what part of this game am I playing in? Are you a pawn? They sacrifice the pawns first. If you ever played chess, the pawns get got first. Well, who's the pawn? The single mother. You have no protection. You have no power. People say, well, black men don't have any power. Let me say this to you. People without money don't have power. People who don't have resources have no power. You have to take your power back. Well, how do I do that, Mr. Johnson? How do I take my power back? By coming out of the Matrix. You have to literally unplug. Watch the Matrix. They tell you, people always say they put it in the movies. What's really going on, right? You saw when they unplugged Keanu Reeves and unjacked him, how weak he was. Because he was fucked up. Why? Because he was living a lie. He was living in delusion. As many people are. You live off credit that you can't even afford to pay. Real rap. You're overweight, you eat too much, you're not taking care of your body. But you know what happens? You'll lay there in that bed and eat those bonbons and those cookies and hope one day you'll do what's necessary until you have a fucking heart attack. It's unfortunate that people only change at the precipice of destruction. Next question.
In your opinion, what is a successful man?
A successful man, in my opinion, is obviously you want to have some money and all that good stuff because unfortunately, I heard it once said that men are only loved based on the provision that they provide something. I can't say that I disagree with that, and I can't say that it's totally true. But the fact of the matter is, in my opinion, what makes you a successful man, number one, if you're not in prison, you can still come out of prison and start your life over, but don't get caught in the system, number one. Number two, take care of yourself. Number three, make sure you're able to provide for yourself. I would say that. Educate yourself. It's not just about money. I don't want to say that because that's not true. That's so many young men I know are just chasing the bag, and they look up and they're 35 and they're alone. I heard the argument that, women after 30 lose their value. Men get better with age and women don't. There might be some truth to that, but I can assure you, you don't want to be a 55-year-old man, in the hospital by yourself. That's not a good look, man. And you don't want to be a 50-year-old woman in a hospital by yourself either. What makes you a successful man is that the first thing I would tell any man to do is to get his mind right, to get himself together. Now, this journey is somewhat lonely. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, there are a lot of so-called gurus out here that try to sell you courses and all this other shit, riding around in Phantoms and Lambos, and it's just a fucking car, man. You see, once you get to a certain age, you understand this shit. Now, if you're young and impressionable, you can sell things to people. It's no different. They do it to women too, selling you makeup and Maybelline and all this stuff. And, let me get a facelift or a tummy tuck or a butt lift. Why? People want to always look and stay young. I tell my wife all the time, a woman can look, a woman's 86 years old and got a face look. She looks 50, but the engine is still 86,000 miles on it. It is what it is. Same with a man. It's the same thing. So these are all aesthetics and things really, in my opinion, very superficial. I enjoy aging. I enjoy my white beard. I enjoy getting older because it's an aspect of life that I didn't experience when I was 25. Life in itself is a journey, and you're a part of that journey, and you must evolve. So what makes a man successful, you have to continue to evolve. And the same with women. You should always be continuously learning. Not necessarily different courses, but yourself. Learn who you are. Once a man or a woman knows who they are, it is very difficult to subdue them. I'm going to say that to you again. Once a man or a woman learns who they are, learn what their power is, learn what they're capable of doing and what they become, it's very difficult to subdue them. But it's very easy to subdue people who don't know who they are and, more importantly, what they are. So I hope that answers the question. We don't have any more questions, so we're going to leave you with a few thoughts for today. Number one, I want you to realize that your life matters. I also want you to understand that there is no one like you. How unique you are, how powerful you truly are. The way that the powers that be keep control over the masses is through manipulation. They will manipulate the water, the food, the airwaves, the music, all of it. Ultimately, you have been given free will. You have been given the ability to choose. This is why I kept reiterating the fact that you do have a choice. You do have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Mr. Johnson, what choice do I have? To either to live or to die, to be good or to be evil, to be well off or to be inundated with poverty, to be healthy or to be sick. It is your choice. Now, there are always extenuating circumstances. There's always, someone's born with a disability. That, things happen. Believe me, I get it. But let's not always go to the extreme. For the most part, the masses are all in the same pot. But many of us still continue to eat from the plate of gruel of destruction, the plate of gruel of procrastination, the plate of gruel of death. It is only until you reach a certain stage in life you recognize the significance and the importance of it. Ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you, my goal is simple: to help you to wake up. You must wake the hell up. Many of us are asleep at the wheel, operating on autopilot, letting life happen to us and not dictating what we want to happen. Guard your mind with all diligence, for out of your mind are the issues of your life. The way this power works, you must understand that you, by being a divine being, some might beg to differ, but the fact is, you came through your mother and father, but your mother and father did not create your soul. Hence, that's why babies can be stillborn, fully developed, and there's no soul in the child, because men and women do not create souls. You know who does. You know who does. All of us at one given point in time in our lives will return back to the source, to God, the light, hence where we come from, our original state, our original being. You have been placed here to learn something, to bring to this world something that is surely needed. However, many of us, through circumstance, trial, and tribulation, won't find our goal, won't find our purpose. You're being distracted. You're being distracted. Turn off the television. It is the biggest distraction of society. TV should be used for just information. Whenever you inundate yourself with murder, evil, darkness, you must understand, if you are not strong enough, if you lack the emotional fortitude, the intellectual wherewithal to differentiate between reality and superficial statements or things that you see, that you perceive to be reality, as long as they continue to place these so-called superstars or celebrities in your face, which is a form of idol worship, if you will, hence American Idol. As long as you are concerned with Grammys and Oscars, things that are of no consequence, not that there's anything wrong with that profession, but things that are of no consequence to you, you have missed the mark. I highly encourage each and every one of you to meditate, to seek, and ye shall find. Find what you're here to do. Of course you need money, of course you want to live well, of course we all want to be healthy, but do everything in your power to bring that into fruition. You do have a choice. Again, choose wisely, and above all else, remember, your mind makes it real. Please share this message. I need your help. I challenge all of you to share it with as many people as possible. I see the comments, and they're so nice, and I appreciate all of them, and man, we really need to hear this. I encourage you to learn to speak as well as you possibly can, to articulate your point to as many people as would listen to you. Because at the end of the day, no one's coming to save you. And with that being said, it is absolutely imperative and quintessential that you save yourself. Remember, you do have a choice. I'm Mr. Johnson. Thank you so much for listening. God bless. Peace.